First, we are the PEARL campaign. PEARL stands for Platform Encouraging Autonomy and Religious Liberty. However, as our campaign has progressed, we have felt conviction that it's time to pivot to actually call ourselves the Platform Encouraging Autonomy, Reformation, and Liberty, because we have become convicted that we are dealing with a reformation effort. So PEARL is the Platform Encouraging Autonomy, Reformation, and Liberty. We are contactable through our email address, sdapearl@yahoo.com. Also, there is a website, sdapearl.com, and a Facebook page. So if you just bear with me, and if the technology cooperates, we can quickly take you to the website. There it is, sdapearl.com, and you can contact us through the website. Now, back to what is the PEARL campaign about. The PEARL campaign is focused at this stage predominantly on the 2015 statement on immunization. From here on, I will call it the therapy for reasons of censorship. Now, where is this statement found? Again, if we go back to the browser, we'll find that this is published on Adventist.org, which is the main page of our church that we are sincere members of. Now, the troubling thing is, if you go to Adventist.org, the main page of the church, and you navigate to the heading called Beliefs, there's a drop-down, and in the official statements, you can then access this statement, and it's not too far down, 2015, you'll find it there, the immunization statement. Now, to get back into the contents of this statement, why would we be protesting against this statement? Let's briefly read it. The Seventh-day Adventist Church places strong emphasis on health and well-being, and all Seventh-day Adventists would agree. But the second sentence, the Adventist health emphasis is based on biblical revelation. Again, very agreeable to all sincere Adventists. The inspired writing of E.G. White, co-founder of the church. Again, no protest on that point. But then it makes this third claim, this source, and on peer-reviewed scientific literature. Now, that insertion of science as a claimed basis of the SDA health emphasis is the substance of the PEARL campaign. We reject any assertion. Now, just to finish with the statement, as such, we encourage responsible immunization. Now, for those of you who know, the Bible and the writings of Ellen White are silent. So that encouragement to partake of the therapy is solely based on peer-reviewed scientific literature, which is revealed by that sentence continuing and saying, and have no religious or faith-based reason not to encourage. The double negative reveals that there is also no religious or faith-based reason to encourage. But instead of admitting that, they hide it behind a double negative to say that the Bible is silent on the therapy, Ellen White is silent on the therapy, and therefore we encourage it based solely on science. And then that encouraging is not only of the therapy, but it also extends to, we encourage our adherents to responsibly participate in protective and preventive immunization programs. In other words, mandates. We value the health and safety of the population, which includes the maintenance of herd immunity. We are not the conscience of the individual church member and recognize individual choices. These are exercised by the individual. Now, the choice not to be immunized is not and should not be seen as the dogma nor the doctrine of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. This is worded deliberately in such a way as to leave a question mark as to whether it is the dogma or the doctrine of the Seventh-day Adventist Church to be immunized. That is the deliberate intent behind this statement, and wording it in, again, a double negative. Now, as we said, this encouragement of the therapy is based exclusively on peer-reviewed scientific literature, and we'll see why that is such a travesty for a church. This statement was voted by the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, the Administrative Committee. And we want to emphasize that this was not the voice of the General Conference. This was the voice of the Administrative Committee of the General Conference. Now, to continue, this is one slide summarizing the PEARL campaign against this statement. This statement starts with the Adventist health emphasis is based on the Bible, writings of Ellen White, and on peer-reviewed scientific literature. Now, what the statement does not disclose is that the Adventist health emphasis is a matter of fundamental belief. Now, why is that a significant point? Because once a matter is a matter of fundamental belief, then the introduction of the fundamental beliefs should apply. And the introduction of the fundamental belief says that Seventh-day Adventists accept the Bible as their only creed. So now immediately we can see, hang on, if we're dealing with a matter of fundamental belief, then we can see a problem. Peer-reviewed science, is that mentioned in the fundamental beliefs? Because it cannot fit in the fundamental beliefs if the introduction to the fundamental beliefs says that we accept the Bible as our only creed. We can see here that the logic doesn't fit. So if we go to the fundamental beliefs of the church, so let's quickly go to the fundamental beliefs. Let's quickly run through this. If we search for health, where do you think we'll find the health emphasis of the Seventh-day Adventist Church? Well, you'll find it in the 22nd fundamental, Christian behavior, where we acknowledge that when we involve ourselves with the things of the Lord, then we will produce Christ-like purity and health. You see, this health emphasis is deriving or described here in Fundamental 22. But there's another reference to health, and it's also found only here in Fundamental 22, where it actually describes the health emphasis of the Adventist Church, which says that because our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, we are to care for them intelligently. Along with adequate exercise and rest, we are to adopt the most healthful diet possible and abstain from unclean foods. Since alcoholic beverages, tobacco, and irresponsible use of drugs and narcotics are harmful to our bodies, we are to abstain from them as well. So quite clearly, the Seventh-day Adventist health emphasis is described by Fundamental Belief 22. Now, why is that profound? Because of the three sources mentioned in the statement that are claimed bases for our health message, remember, they are the Bible, the writings of Ellen White, and peer-reviewed science. Let's see, which of these do we find in the fundamental beliefs? Well, if we search for Bible, we find the Bible is there. We find that sentence that we've referred to in the introduction, that the Seventh-day Adventists accept the Bible as their only creed. And therefore, we have these certain fundamental beliefs to be the teaching of the Holy Scriptures. The Bible is very much an anchor of the fundamental beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and that's why you find it all throughout. Now, the writings of Ellen White. We search for that as well, and we find it here, right here in Fundamental 18, which is very easy to explain because the Bible teaches that one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit is prophecy, and that prophecy will be an identifying mark of the remnant church. We believe it has been manifested in the ministry of Ellen G. White. We believe her writings speak with prophetic authority. They provide comfort, guidance, instruction, and correction to the church. And her writings also make clear that the Bible is the standard by which all teaching and experience must be tested. So when it comes to our health emphasis being based on the Bible, we found that to be supported by the fundamental beliefs. Whether it's based on the writings of Ellen White, we found that to be supported by the fundamental beliefs. But now let's test science. Let's put science in here. No matches. Oh, can't find science in the fundamental beliefs. And that is the point. If our health emphasis was based on science, we would have a fundamental belief issue. We would have to insert science into the fundamental beliefs, thereby violating the guarantee of the introduction of the fundamental beliefs that the Bible is our only creed. So therefore, any claims that science is a basis for our health message is a claim that is in conflict with the fundamental beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And therefore, this administrative committee of the General Conference has erred, and they have produced a faulty statement in conflict with the fundamental beliefs. Now, what are we doing about that? We are encouraging churches, congregations throughout the denomination to consider the evidence as presented here in a business meeting. For the church manual tells us that the business meeting is the voice of the local congregation. It is the highest authority, and it is the constituent meeting of the local congregation, the business meeting, to consider this evidence. And then if the business meeting is convinced that this statement is not in harmony with the fundamental beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, then for the congregation to vote to reject this statement, and voting to reject is of no consequence, you need to announce this is a publicly published statement for all the world to read. So therefore, announce publicly that you find this statement to be in conflict with our fundamental beliefs. Vote to reject it and send a letter to the General Conference, who are the publishers of the statement, but also inform the division, the union, and the conference relevant to the local congregation. Inform them of the decision of the congregation. We have assessed this statement, we've tested it to the fundamental beliefs, we've found it to be in conflict, we voted to reject for this reason, and the vote to reject is a simple majority. So it doesn't have to be an overwhelming majority, you don't need to convince everyone, doesn't need to be unanimous, a simple majority as with any other business meeting vote. A simple majority, and send the letter as evidence of the decision. Now, in case you need any assistance with the presentation materials or with a template for the letter to send, please email us at sdapearl@yahoo.com, and we can assist you in preparing for your business meeting. And we want to encourage you to make use of these materials. They're very simple to follow. This is the argument, and this is the winning argument, and we'll now get into an update on how effective this mechanism is.